boy. Yeah, do you want him or not? If you want him, you'll pay. You want him, fingers and pies? I am the pie. Sign the thing. Get him on a medical. He's getting in a helicopter now. He's getting on a... You're going to get gazumped. I'm gazumping you. Do you want him on loan? You can take him. Just take him on loan. Please take him on loan. Please. Please take him on loan. Please. No, his knee's fine. And other agenty things. Oh, getting close, aren't we? Getting close to deadline day. Tis upon us. We're going to go through one transfer that every Premier League club still needs to make and could make between now and deadline day if they've got it in them, if they want to open up the wallet. Because some teams have made moves in this transfer window and some clubs have stood shockingly still. Arsenal, who are doing very well, but it's always nice to bump up the squad, isn't it? Moises Caicedo. Let's get this done, shall we? Building for the now and for the future. So Arsenal have strengthened brilliantly this window with Trossard and Kivior coming in. So with the forward and defender positions addressed, I think what Arsenal need is a defensive midfielder who can come in for Partey when he needs a rest. You've got the Europa League, of course, on the horizon, and just generally Partey sometimes, touch wood, every Arsenal fan, touch wood right now, does get injured, okay? So it's just worth having someone that you can be a bit more excited about, both for the now and for the future. As I said, Caicedo would be more than just an understudy too. You know, he's equally comfortable playing as an 8, which would see him probably replace Xhaka as well as offering cover for Partey. With Arsenal having saved a few quid on the Mudryk deal, they may now throw everything at this, and I don't think it'd be the worst signing. People might be dreaming of Declan Rice, but I just can't see that happening between now and the end of the season. It would be one that happens in the summer, surely. Right, so that was recorded before the Moises Caicedo tweets over the weekend. But I still think it's one that they could definitely go for. The big question is, we were talking about the market value being 35 million, the cost being a minimum of 50 million. It now looks like even 65 million is something that Brighton don't want to take right now. But it shows we were kind of on the money in terms of the player who would be wonderful for them. But can they get him over the line? Arsenal fans, talk to me. Is it one where you go to 70 million because you've seen him and you've seen that he's really special? Or do you do what you've done previously and go, okay, no, we're going to leave it? Because the bottom line is you are very, very close to winning a Premier League title. And Caicedo could be that one signing that pops you over the edge. So how much is a Premier League title worth to you guys? Let me know in the comments down below. Aston Villa, Jonathan David, absolutely perfect. He's currently at Lille. Market value is about 40 million. The actual cost could be 30 million, possibly. He's only got 2 years left on his deal. Aston Villa have already signed a striker this window for around 15 million in a 19-year-old John Duran. He's a guy he's hungry like a wolf, this guy. He's got something really, really special. And yep, he's coming from the ordinary world of MLS, but hopefully he won't come undone. Save a prayer for him because he's got a view to kill in terms of scoring goals. So exciting times as he comes from MLS club Chicago Fire, one for the older ones. But with Danny Ings gone, I think there's still space for another striker to come in and someone who can make an impact from the get-go. Therefore, Jonathan David is the perfect candidate. Who prefers to play in a 2, could form a brilliant partnership with Watkins. Lille aren't in a great space financially either, and with the money that Villa have, they may be able to tempt them into selling. David has 12 goals in 19 Ligue 1 matches this season, and he would have an instant impact in my opinion. I love the movement from him. I saw him at the World Cup and I was super, super impressed. So I think, it would match those ambitious signings that Aston Villa look to be continuing to make. Bournemouth, Seko Fofana. He adds quality to this midfield that needs it. His current club is Lens. His market value is about 26 million and the actual cost for him would be around a similar amount. Bournemouth look likely to sign Nico Jackson from Villarreal, and the deal may be done by the time this video comes out. So with the forward position addressed, sort of, adding quality into the centre of midfield is the next logical step for Bournemouth, in my opinion. Seko Fofana checks all the boxes for me for how Bournemouth want to play. A physical midfielder who can also create is what Fofana is, and this season he's been directly involved in 6 goals from midfield for Lens. But tempting him into leaving may be tricky because Lens are only 3 points from the top of League 1 this season. He is rumoured to be on only 30 grand a week. Only 30 grand a week though, and Bournemouth may be able to double that. He's also been rumoured to Arsenal and Leeds, so there could be a bit of competition, but he would massively, massively help their survival chances. Hate this one. Brentford. Seny Dieng. He is the best goalkeeper I've ever seen play for QPR. You know, obviously maybe not in the same sort of standing of playing in the Premier League, but he is so easily a Premier League goalkeeper, and he's a long-term Raya replacement. And that is probably the future for them. Seny Dieng's market value is 1.2 million, which is an absolute disgrace in my opinion. It's really, really annoying. But the fact is that he's going into the final year of his deal, so that's going to affect things a little bit. But you could get, I'd want 5-6 million. And sorry, Brentford fans, but it does look like David Raya may be on his way out soon. So with some big clubs, including Man United, having a look at him, this January might be a great time to try and sort a deal for a long-term replacement that doesn't have to be integrated straight away and therefore would be ready for next season. Despite being a QPR player, it wouldn't be a big move for him, so he'd be able to fit in straight away, and it is an absolute no-brainer in terms of the style of goalkeeping that works perfectly for Brentford, someone who's really good on the ball, and Seny Dieng is that. I'm amazed he hasn't gone to the Premier League as of yet, and from what I've heard, it's a move that he really wants, understandably. He's good to go, great understudy, and I think he's a starting Premier League goalkeeper in my opinion, so it would be exactly the kind of move that Brentford would make. Brighton. Vanderson, playmaking right back. His current club is AS Monaco. His market value is about 50 million. The actual cost would probably be a bit more than that, 25 million. But Vanderson could be perfect for Brighton in how they play. You've got Gross, who sometimes plays right back, and he drifts into the centre at times for Brighton, like Cancelo does for Man City. And if Brighton signed Vanderson, they could make him into that type of player. He's only 21. He's been excellent in Ligue 1 this season for Monaco. His stats are really, really strong. And on the ball, he looks so composed and tidy, which probably shows he has the qualities to be a right back who's good in central areas and offers something in midfield, a bit like we're seeing with fullbacks these days. And with Brighton being that forward-thinking team under the Zerbi, you have him on one side, Estupiñán on the other side. And again, you've just got a really strong team there. Chelsea. Alexander Bah. Now, don't feel sheepish about this one. Christ. But by God, this would be a clever signing. He's currently playing for Benfica. His market value is 6 million. Just 6 million, a little cheapy one for Chelsea here. But the cost will probably be £12 million. The 25-year-old could come in and be the perfect understudy for Reece James. He plays very similar to him in an attacking sense and has got pace to burn, which is good because Azpilicueta really, really doesn't, and I know Chelsea fans are getting fed up with him by this stage. Bah has created 8 big chances this season and is extremely nimble on the ball. Chelsea may even be able to get him on a loan if they shell out a few quid for the loan, which would see them have cover until they get Malo Gusto. And it's something that Chelsea, of course, haven't been adverse to under Todd Bowley. Before we get into the next team, just to say, I'm going to be doing a phone-in on deadline day. We've got a fan from every single club. I think we've pretty much got it sorted out, but go check out the Discord server, become an Allcott Ultra. The link is at the top of the comments, so if you click into that, you'll be able to make your way into the Discord server, and if you want to get involved in future phone-ins, because I'm sure we'll do another one, then get involved, or there might still be places for your team, so go check it out, and as I said, be a part of the Allcott Ultra community. We're always sort of talking about different videos, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful community, one that I'm super, super proud of. So go get involved, make some friends, like-minded people, go talk about football, all good stuff. Get involved. Okay, back to the video. Just looking at the comments here, some of the videos here, someone's not happy about me doing sort of little funny jokes when it's names that sound like penis. So I'll have to rein that in. Right. Anyway, sorry, let's get back to it. Okay. Crystal Palace, Orkan Kokcu. Quality in midfield. Place of Feyenoord. Market value is 24 million. The cost would be 25 million. Now, Decore in midfield has been excellent in retaining possession and destroying in the centre, but Palace have struggled to find the right partner for him in that double pivot. Someone who's a bit more expansive maybe and have a bit more quality. You've got Will Hughes, Schlupp, Milivojevic all being used and not really offering enough in terms of progression. And I think Orkan Kokcu may be a shrewd signing. Kokcu ranked in the top 1% of Europe's top 8 leagues for progressive passes with 8.34 per 90. And having him as a deep-lying playmaker would help bring in the quality forwards at Palace and possibly allow them to dominate more games a bit more. Everton. Iliman Ndiaye, Richarlison replacement maybe. Sheffield United player, market value's 5 million. Actual cost would probably be a bit more for a forward, 12 million. And Everton need a forward. They need one with the profile of Richarlison. I think Iliman Ndiaye from Sheffield United fits the mould brilliantly, in my opinion, for a couple of reasons. First of all, you've got 10 goals and 7 assists in 28 matches this season. He could do a bit of everything, and he'd also be able to play behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which may get the best out of him as well. He's got quality now, and at 22 years old, he'd be a smart move for the future, which is something that Everton have to keep in mind if they were to go down. Fulham, Maxence Lacroix, perfect for Fulham's defence. Plays for Wolfsburg. 18 million would cost about 18-20 million, I think. Lacroix is an incredibly pacey and physical centre-half who could slot in nicely in Fulham's defence. He's a great defender, and aerially, you don't get much better than him, to be honest. I think his pace would allow Fulham to continue with this sort of brave idea and identity, playing on the front foot, safe in the knowledge that you've got his pace to get you out of trouble at times. He'd be a brilliant replacement for Tim Ream, who may be on the way out in the summer, despite being fantastic this year. Leeds United, Juan Bernat. Leeds need him. Plays for PSG, of course. Market value 10 million, would cost about 12 million, or you could do a loan with the wages covered maybe. I can't really understand why Leeds haven't yet gone for a left back, because at the minute they're playing one of their best centre backs there, which just feels really odd. And with the ambition Leeds have showed in pursuing players from big clubs, I think Bernat wouldn't be out of reach for them. You know, the left back played a lot at the start of the season, but with Nuno Mendes back from injury, he's going to be back to second string, and Leeds may be able to get him on a loan if they wanted to cover his wages and just get that left back spot sorted out. I didn't forget to put Leicester in. You did. So we're going to go with Per Schurz. Per Schurz is something that they desperately need. Leicester City, I think it's one where that right winger that we have been screaming for Leicester City on this channel for so long, they've signed a player. Tete. They've signed him from Lyon, and that is a great signing for them on the right-hand side if someone's going to cut in on the left. But now they need to focus on the centre-back position, which continues to be a bit of a problem for them. Wout Faes has come through. He's done okay at times, but I think they can improve, and Per Schurz would be really, really strong. Came through at Ajax. Is at Torino at the moment, can play on the right of a back three, but also play as a centre-back in a two. Comfortable on the ball. I think he'd be a cracking option for Leicester, both for the long term and the short term. Liverpool, Khéphren Thuram, one of the brightest prospects from France, plays for Nice. His market value is 22 million. The actual cost is going to be 35 to 40 million, maybe even higher. Maybe not, who knows. Liverpool are normally very good when it comes to negotiations. So he is the son of Lilian and the brother of Marcus. Khéphren may become the best Thuram of all, the way he's heading. At 6'3", he's also so agile on the ball, and it allows Thuram to do pretty much whatever he wants in the centre of the pitch as a centre midfielder. And this makes him a brilliant player in possession, but also just extremely effective out of possession. He has brilliant physical attributes, as well as that high footballing IQ that you get from these French midfielders, always it seems. And it just makes him shine in this Nice midfield, and has done this season. He's a defensive midfielder, but he's so sort of elegant in beating players in the centre and is so press-proof. There's been so much talk about Enzo Fernandez in this window, but I wonder if this guy might be a better signing and cheaper. Man City, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, one of the few players who improves their side. Man City, that is. Currently, of course, at Napoli, market value is about 53 million. The actual cost is going to be miles higher than that, probably around the 90 million mark. Kvaratskhelia may be a player who breaks a world transfer record if he continues to perform at the rate that he is at this moment in time. He is something special, and that's normally the kind of players that Man City go for. And Man City are short in forward options after Sterling and Jesus left, of course, in the summer, and they won't splash the cash on anyone, but Kvaratskhelia is one of the players that they should be going big for. They may be able to sort a deal in January. I'd be surprised, but it would be a hell of a deadline day, and let's dream, shall we? I mean, I don't really want Man City getting any stronger because they're pretty strong as it is, but Kvaratskhelia would be one hell of a signing for him, and it'd be a bit of a punch in the gut for Napoli. I'd be surprised if he does go, I'll be honest. So the problem I've got here is that they're only going to go for someone really exciting, but at the same time, Napoli are on the cusp of a Scudetto. So this would be, a massive, 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 massive shock, I've got to be honest. But let's have a look at it. Kvaratskhelia has 7 goals and 7 assists in 15 matches this season, and is also just so immense on the ball. Possibly one of the best one-on-one wingers in world football at present. We kind of need to see him in the Premier League. I just think it would be a great player to have and a great player to watch. He's one of those players that you would change the channel to watch this guy. And so to see him at Man City, they must be circling. They have to be. Man United, Denzel Dumfries. We did a whole video talking about 10 different options, so 5 different positions where Man United could strengthen and get them to a place where they could really, really push for the title. So go check out that video. And also, if you're a Man United fan, we did a video on how Marcus Rashford became great again. So go check out both of those on the JLA channel. And actually, by the way, if you haven't subscribed as of yet, please do consider hitting that button. It always massively, massively helps. The bigger we are, the better we can be. Anyway, Denzel Dumfries was one of the transfers in that video, and he solves a big issue. He's currently at Inter Milan. The market value is about 25 million. Actual cost to be about 30 million. And when Man United played Arsenal the other day, Antony was sort of highlighted for being just really predictable. And I think part of that predictability is frustrating, but also you've got to think about the parts around him, and he needs that movement around him. They need to take a step back from kind of what Antony sort of isn't doing right now, and also think about how they can make him better. Because at Ajax, he had Mazraoui bombing on down the right, and he gave him that overlap option, and it opened up space for him to cut inside. Wan-Bissaka didn't do this much against Arsenal, and it forces Antony's hand. So signing a naturally attacking right back in Denzel Dumfries, it is the solution for me. You know, Dumfries is great defensively, physically, and going forward. And at 26, he's primed and ready to go. Dumfries has created 8 big chances and only 13 starts in Serie A this year. Go get it done. I just think he really would. Look, Delo, he's doing well. Wan-Bissaka's had good moments, but if you want to go to the next level, I think you need to go and get that guy who's going to make the opposition really concerned about the right back, but also open it up for Antony. Newcastle United, Ruben Neves. I'd love to see this happen because, look, yeah, he's at Wolves, and again, would they sell him? But you've got big clubs with big money, and they're willing to make those moves at times. The market value is about 37 million, according to Transfer Market. The actual cost would probably be about 25 million because the contract expires in 2024. But think of that midfield. It just needs that final piece, doesn't it? You know, a midfielder of Joe Linton, Guimaraes, and Neves would be genuinely great to see because Neves would be controlling the tempo at the 6. It allows Guimaraes to operate further up the pitch and be a direct goal threat. Neves has been demonstrating how assured his passing range is, and that would work perfectly for the style Eddie Howe is developing. Neves would be key in allowing Newcastle to transition from defence to attack quickly, and this may be a route to success in the Champions League next season. Am I getting ahead of myself? Maybe. But hopefully Newcastle fans are as well, because you might as well bloody enjoy this ride. And Ruben Neves, especially with his long-range passing as well, he'd be a really interesting player when you've got the front line and also someone like Alex Maximin, who you kind of want to get involved. You want to allow him to cheat a little bit. I think there'll be reinforcements on the right-hand side at times as well. So that long-range passing could unleash some of these players on the counter-attack as well. Nottingham Forest, Igor. The only position left is a centre-back to improve, I think, here. Currently at Fiorentina. His market value is about 9 million. He would cost probably double that. I think with Forest, look, they have strengthened in all areas. Maybe centre-back is the one spot that they could still sign one. Now, I know that they signed Niakate in the summer, who's a similar profile to Igor, but with Niakate injured and having only played 2 matches, signing Igor, even maybe on a loan, might make sense just to add that little bit of extra solidity. Igor is a Brazilian who plays his football for Fiorentina in Italy. He's been decent for them this season. He looks like a competent defender, but he hasn't set the world alight and may only cost 50 million despite still only being 24. It's one of those sensible transfers for Forest. Southampton, bit different here, and probably doesn't totally fit the transfer policy of Southampton, but they are in trouble and they need that little bit of experience, in my opinion. Mehdi Taremi, he fires them up the table. I think he really, really does. He's a bit like a Brozier almost. You can bring him in and he can do that job. Obviously playing for Porto, has done for some time. 70 million, the actual cost would probably be about 50 million because at 30 years old, this is a guy, first of all, in the form of his life, and some might think that Taremi wouldn't want to go to Southampton, but I don't think that's actually the case. If you think of Weghorst last season, having never played in a top 5 league in his career, you wonder if if a club offers him that chance in January to almost be in that shop window, he would be inclined to do it. And in Taremi, Southampton would be getting guaranteed goals. And it could literally fire them up the table. It's been a massive problem, the forward positions of players who have really done it at championship level but not been able to step up in Armstrong and Che Adams. And since signing for Porto in 2020, Taremi scored 46 goals in 83 league matches and virtually guarantees goals, as I said, if you can create for him. Big physical presence up there as well. Might be one where you kind of... I don't think they'll do it at Southampton, but I would love to see them try and maybe even get him on loan. Maybe a bit of a push, and maybe it would feel like a lack of investment because you're not going to get that money back, but I just think he would be a cracking fit there. Tottenham, Frank Anguissa. I love watching this guy play, and he'd add a little bit of zest to that midfield, wouldn't he? Another player from Napoli, market value is 34 million. Actual cost probably going to be about 40 million. But when Bentancur has been injured for Spurs, they just look a bit lost in midfield, and you can see the impact of not having that midfield progressor at Spurs, and therefore signing someone who can come in and offer a similar level of output, it's just essential for Spurs for their depth purposes as much as anything. And who better than Anguissa? Again, Napoli fans will be screaming, going, why would he leave? And again, I think that's a fair point, but the lure of the Premier League is always really, really strong. Anguissa is almost like a sort of bit of a regen in terms of a Moussa Dembele type, and how good he is at carrying the ball and ghosting past people in central areas. You'll remember that from his time at Fulham, his stats in terms of dribbling with the ball and progressing the ball were so brilliant. And he'd be a player that would be the link between midfield and attack. And crucially, he would prevent this Spurs midfield from consistently being packed with just workhorses. West Ham, something a little bit different here. Adama Traore. It would allow them to get up the pitch. I think this is an interesting one. It could be one that they might be a bit of flirting with. Let's see, because obviously they've done a dealing between each other, Wolves and West Ham, in this window already with Dawson. Market value, 12 million. Actual cost probably be about 5 because he's out of contract in the summer. And I think West Ham are struggling to get up the pitch at times this season. They aren't really gelling going forward. So maybe having a plan B like Adama Traore could be that quick fix. Again, is it one of those where they might be able to do a loan move and allow Wolves to make a little bit of money for a player who's probably surely going to leave in the summer with him being out of contract? They don't really have a winger with that blistering pace and ability to beat his man and blaze past them. And I think Adama Traore would offer something different to West Ham, and it would be perfect for the style of play that Moyes deploys. And currently, West Ham just don't have that pattern of play. So just to have that guy to get you up the pitch, he could be really, really useful. I've said it before, I've said it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. Renato Sanchez at Wolves is just a dream signing, and I think he would just be a wonderful fit there. I know we've said this before, but I can't get away from it. I know I think I've put him forward for Tottenham as well. I just think he's right for the Premier League, and he needs to get back. There's unfinished business there. He's currently at PSG. Market value is about 22 million. But I think this is one maybe you go for a loan here and cover the wages. Wolves are strengthened across the board in this window, signing Cunha, Sarabia and Dawson. So there's not many areas where you can pinpoint that improvement whilst allowing these new players to thrive. But having said that, I think a central midfielder wouldn't go amiss. And hear me out with this one, because Renato Sanchez could be an amazing replacement for Jaume. And Sanchez has only started 2 matches for PSG this season after being immense for Lille previously. Wolves also have those Portugal connections, of course, so it might tempt him to go there and be with his mates. You never know. Look, they sign a lot of Portuguese players, so be it a loan, or God, you'd be in dreamland if you could make it a permanent. I think it would be a really nice fit, certainly at least for the next few months. Right, guys, if you're still watching and you've enjoyed the video, do 2 things for me. Hit the like button and subscribe. Actually, one final thing, hit the notification bell as well, because I'm going to be going live very, very soon and regularly. So if you want to join in, then you need to hit that button. See you soon.
You'll have a side where every club does it go. Don't get it right all the time, but you'll go, here's your trigger. He'll lose it, and if he loses it, we're now at their back 4.
Yeah. It got me thinking. Does every single team have a press trigger? And if that is the case, who is everybody's press trigger? That's what this video is all about.